Okay, it's Monday, the 11th of January, and welcome to the first virtual cabinet of the new year. Can I have apologies for absence if there are any? I think there are not. I think Ben's with us. Yeah. Next item is the minutes of the last meeting. Can I ask for their approval, please?
Hang on, formally second, Leader.
Thank you very much. Is that agreed? Good. Next item is the minutes of the car. Well, before I start, I normally say at this stage, don't I, that I hope people will take heed of the fact that the pandemic is still with us, that we are seriously in a lockdown, that NHS is now in a critical condition, and people really does need to adhere to the rules, to stay home if you can, work from home if you can, only go out if you absolutely need to get shopping or to exercise, but locally don't drive anywhere. We've had issues in terms of people coming from all sorts of places to Barry Island and other resorts like the Esplanade in Penarth or Ogmore. Please stay at home. Please look after yourself. Please look after our community. I've said it so many times that I really do hope that people will take heed of it now. It is really serious. We have the vaccine. It will be rolled out shortly. Ron Gethin has been on TV this afternoon explaining the way it's going to be carried out. You will be contacted if you're in one of the groups is to be vaccinated. Don't contact your surgery. The surgeries will contact you. You will be asked to attend when it's ready, when you're ready to have your vaccination. So please stay at home. And even after you've had the first vaccination, although it gives you some protection, I think you still need to take heed of the fact that you should stay at home and abide by the rules. Only by doing that, by working together, we will eventually defeat this deadly virus. Okay, Happy New Year. I hope that everybody will take heed. The next item is a report at the minutes of the Cardiff Bay Advisory Committee of the 2nd of December.
Apologies, Leader. Can I just check there's no declarations of interest for the meeting?
Well, I'm terribly sorry. That's my fault. There's not any declarations of interest, and the reason is I know there are none, but are formally true. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. There are no declarations. Good. Thank you. In that case, the Cardiff Bay Advisory Committee of the 2nd of December. I think Liz is as a panel member. I think you just moved it, yes?
I have, but actually, Leader, can I just make a couple of comments? Because there are normally little snippets, little gems within these reports that are actually quite interesting. And I was really pleased on this occasion that our new ecologist came along to the meeting and explained his role. And I think that will prove to be a really super appointment. One of the things he talked about was that he was going to be working on developing a local nature partnership. People might have already seen social media, etc., from the council on that, and that's moving ahead really well. I said lots of little snippets of information in that, and one thing that I took from it is that in an update from NRW, they talked about a slightly higher than usual number of salmonids, which is fish 55 centimetre or longer, such as Atlantic salmon and sea trout, had passed through the barrage, and they thought that was about 143 salmon and 4 sea trout. And then a further 3,148 fish shorter than 55 centimetres also passing through the barrage. Now, for those of us that of extended ages, to see that the water quality in the bay and up into the rivers is sufficient to support that is really good news. So I just thought that I'd impart that little gem, but it's worth, if you're interested in that sort of thing, having a little look at the report. But on that note, I would like to move we note.
Okay, that's good. I'll second, and yeah, I read that too, and it is good, the fact that the quality of the water is improving that much. Okay, good, thank you. In that case, I'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is the the Revenue Monitoring Report for the period 1st of April to the 30th of November. The report actually outlines a position with regards to the revenue budget for that period, taking into account the impact of the pandemic on the Council's finances and the position with regards to achieving the agreed efficiencies in the current year. The revenue position for 2021 is challenging, obviously, with additional pressure for the Council, both operationally and financially, as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. This has impacted, as we've seen many times before, and has resulted in incurring additional expenditure, but also for loss of income. From March 2020, the Welsh Government has provided financial support to cover additional expenditure incurred via the Local Authority Emergency Hardship Grant. The funding has been made available to acknowledge both the increased costs and the lost income resulting from the pandemic. But for the period of March to October 2020, the Council has received over £7 million to cover additional expenditure due to COVID-19. On top of that, we've made claims, and claims have been made on a monthly basis in arrears for expenditure, and a table in paragraph 2.2 in the report details the grants that have been claimed for the period March to October, and details of payments that have been received in relation to those claims. With regards to lost income of £2.02 million has been received for the first 2 quarters of the year, and a claim for the lost income relating to Q3 is to be submitted on the 22nd of January. In addition, and I think this is quite important, the Council has also received other specific grant funding from Welsh Government to cover additional costs relating to COVID-19, which are detailed in paragraph 2.5 of the report in relation to business grants, etc., and these total £49 million. It is projected also that unplanned use of reserve will be necessary in the short term, which is currently estimated at £3.4 million. We're taking £3.4 million out of the specific reserves. And this is obviously in addition to the £1 million we'd already approved to support the 2021 revenue budget. So it has been a considerable hit on our reserves. But the report also details the position service by service based on current projections, and these obviously will change as the year develops and further clarification on grant funding is received from Welsh Government. We're assuming that we will still continue to have changes to our revenue budget, and we're also assuming that we're still going to get money from Welsh Government. However, as a result of the pandemic, there's been a reduction in council tax collection, so that's another hit we've been taken. For the period to end on November, as compared to the same period in 1920, the reduction is 1.2%, which equates to a loss of £1.1 million. Now, this is in part due to some customers deferring payments from April to May last year to February to March this year. Now, the recovery, so we're hoping that actually will become shorter so that people will still continue to pay us up until March. However, there are some people who still owe money, and recovery process is normally the way we do that. We did halt it, but however, we've now recommenced the procedures, and the position continues to be closely monitored, and information is being provided to Welsh Government on a regular basis regarding this issue. When the revenue budget for 2021 was agreed, there was efficiency savings of £247,000 were approved. At the current time, it's anticipated these will be met, but this will be closely monitored throughout the year. I think that gives a snapshot of where we are. It's very similar to where we were last time, but I think it's right that we have regular reports. So basically, the report recommends that the position with regard to the authority's 2021 revenue budget be noted, and that this report be referred to Corporate Performance and Resources Scrutiny Committee for consideration. As I said, there are specific areas within the report which cover each of the service areas, and I think it is a particularly comprehensive report before you. So I'm going to move those recommendations. I don't know if anybody wants to make any comment in relation to that particular report.
No one less to accept to formally second, Leader.
Thank you very much. In that case, I'll go to the next item, which is the Capital Monitoring Report for the same period, 1st of April to the 30th of November. Again, it's very similar to where we were previously. The report outlines a position with regards to the programme, taking into account the impact again of the pandemic, because clearly the ability to deliver the full programme has been hindered in some respect. As I said, the delivery of the capital programme is therefore challenging this year due to the pandemic. Early in April, it was agreed that the Council would not tender for capital schemes due to concerns regarding the availability of contractors. But as you also know from last time, we subsequently reviewed that decision, and services are now tendering for work to be completed. So work is now continuing, and we're trying to catch up on those schemes that we've lost off. So the report, as I say, details the current position with regard to the capital programme and includes changes to the programme for the following reasons. And they are: 1, additions to the programme following receipt of a number of Welsh Government grants. 2, additions to the programme through the use of Section 106 monies. And finally, 3, some slippages of the programme in 2021-22. You can see some of them are going forward to next year because we have not been able to complete them. Appendix 1 of the report contains the detailed programme of the schemes on a scheme-by-scheme basis. I don't intend to go through them, but if anybody's got any items to raise, then please do so. But I will recommend that the Cabinet notes the progress made in 2021 of the capital programme, that the Cabinet refers this report to the Corporate Performance and Resources Scrutiny Committee for consideration. 3, that the Cabinet notes the use of delegated authority as detailed in the report. 4, the Cabinet notes the use of emergency powers as detailed in the report. And 5, that the Cabinet approves the changes for changes to the 2021 programme and future years capital programme as detailed in the report. As I said, some of the issues will be carried forward to next year, and there's been some additions too. So unless anybody's got anything to raise, particularly in relation to this programme, then I will move it. But I see Liz want to make some comment.
Yes, please, Leader. I'm happy to formally second, but I also would like to draw to Cabinet's attention the phenomenal amount of work that actually did go on, even though we had to put a hold on it right at the start of the pandemic. You know, we often talk about our 21st Century Schools programme, but if you look at Appendix 1 in terms of the asset renewal work that's gone on this year with, you know, new boilers, new rewiring, walls, all sorts of stuff, you know, extra sort of facilities within schools, it's actually a phenomenal result with very little slippage. And so I personally would like to say a huge thank you to our buildings and properties team for getting all this tendered and out of the traps and delivered into our schools. So just a big thank you from me.
No, I'd echo that. I think when you consider the situation we were in, I think it's an amazing job that we've done as what we've done. And in fact, there's still in this report, there's still some that increase the capital programme, not just slip it forward. And a lot of the work is still going on, and hopefully we can do as much as we can by the end of March. Absolutely, I think the officers to be commended. Any other comment from anyone? Nope. In that case, I'll move on. This is a report in relation to the annual delivery plan monitoring report for Q2. The performance report presents our progress at Q2, which is April to September, towards achieving our annual delivery plan and our commitments as aligned to the corporate plan wellbeing objectives. Despite the ongoing challenges, because clearly the pandemic has had an effect on that too, we've made positive progress in delivering on our in-year commitments in relation to our annual delivery plan. But in fairness, the performance has looked forward, and we've decided that it should be an overall amber status of the plan. The reason for that is some things have gone forward, some things have stalled a little, and some things haven't been able to be carried out. However, all 4 corporate plan wellbeing objectives were attributed in amber plan performance to reflect the progress made. has been unprecedented challenges. But for example, 152 of the 231 planned activities have been attributed to green, 58 actions of red, 52 were directly as a result of service prioritisation and in response to the pandemic. However, I have to say that some of the work is now commencing as part of our recovery plan. So we maybe not been able to continue to do it all the time, but we are now. Scrutiny committees have it's all been reported to scrutiny committees, and I will make a comment because I have a reference that I've added today, which I put in as an urgent item, and that's a reference from Corporate Performance and Resources Scrutiny Committee of the 16th of December. In terms of the other issues, of the 64 quarterly performance measures, data was reported for 33 of those measures where performance was applicable. 21 were green, 5 were amber, and 7 had a red status. And there were data was unavailable for 9 of those measures during the year. In terms of the scrutiny committees, as I said, they've all had sight of the report, and each of them have noted the performance and the progress to date. The report seeks Cabinet, this report seeks Cabinet's consideration of the views and recommendations of scrutiny committees, and I do have something to say on one of that. But we're also requested as a Cabinet to note the overall performance to date, and also Cabinet is also requested to note the certificate of compliance issued by Audit Wales following its audit to determine whether the Council has discharged its duties to publish an assessment of performance for 2019-20 in line with the statutory guidance, and I'm glad that we have. So in terms of recommendations, I will come forward in a second. In relation to the reference from 16th of December, as I said, each of the scrutiny committees were asked for comments. Each of the other committees noted the performance. In relation to corporate performance and resources, there were some issues that were raised. One was there was a request that future reports indicate and provide details of the actions and measures that have been slipped for COVID and non-COVID related reasons, and the actions being undertaken to mitigate these. The head of service agreed to incorporate information in the Q3 performance reports to all committees, so that's been considered, and it will also be in the report to ourselves. There was also a request in referring to the GP triage project in Penarth, and it was asked for an update on the report on the project to members. But basically, as far as they were concerned, they noted the delivery plan. The remedial actions taken were noted, and that they asked the Cabinet be informed of the members' request for future reports and information to be contained in the reports, which I've just done, and that they also agreed that the progress being made for the COVID's recovery strategy and Directorate's recovery plan in response to the coronavirus pandemic be noted. So basically, all committees noted the progress, but with those requests. So what I'm going to recommend is that the Cabinet, having considered the report, notes and endorses the performance results and progress towards achieving the annual delivery plan 2021, and as aligned to our corporate plan wellbeing objectives as presented in this report and appendices. The two, that the Cabinet note the views and recommendations of the Scrutiny Committee, and we note that the Scrutiny Committee for Corporate Performance made those comments, so that we note the views and recommendations of the Scrutiny Committee in relation to Q2 performance results and approve identified remedial actions as a basis to address areas of underperformance and to tackle the key challenges identified. The three, the Cabinet notes and endorses the progress being made through our recovery strategy and Directorate recovery plans in response to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. And 4, the Cabinet notes with pleasure the certificate of compliance issued with Audit Wales following its audit to determine whether the Council has discharged its duties to publish an assessment of performance for 2019-20 in line with statutory guidance. It is a considerable report, and I have highlighted some of the issues in terms of one's green, amber and red. It is there to be read, but I will formally move the recommendations unless anybody has got any comments to make in their particular areas.
And I'll formally second, Leader.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Is there any other comment that wants to be made? No. Good. Thank you very much. I think it's commendable the amount of work that's been carried out, particularly in these awkward and difficult times. Okay, the next item is a report from the Cabinet Member for Education and Regeneration in relation to Gladstone School, Gladstone Primary School Caretaker's House. Liz, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. Just let myself get organised on my laptop. So this is a report to seek Cabinet's approval to formally declare the Caretaker's House at Gladstone Primary School as a surplus asset and to dispose of the asset via informal tender. The Caretaker's House at Gladstone Primary School has actually been vacant since September 2018 and is no longer required to provide caretaker accommodation. No alternative council uses have been identified, and it's recommended that the asset is declared surplus to requirements and disposed of on the open market by the estates team as a residential property. It's worth saying there that, as I said, it's been vacant since 2018. Evaluation to see whether or not it could be used for alternate purposes have been extensive. There have been consultations. We've looked at it within the education department. There have been consultations with the housing department, and it's also been to the council's insight board, which is a cross-departmental board that will look at where it could have a useful purpose, and none were identified. The capital receipt which we get from the sale of the property will contribute to the delivery of the council's 21st Century Schools Band B programme, and whenever we bring an update on Band B programme to council, it normally talks about how all the various types of funds are brought together to achieve what is going to be a sort of £135 million programme by 2024. So that can be coming from capital receipts, it can come from some borrowings, some Section 106 money, some Welsh Government money. So that's the way that it works. I should mention that there was an email from local member Councillor Johnson, who raised concerns that it wasn't retained as housing stock, and as I've said, that was fully explored by the housing teams. And there was also a degree of security that a house that was a caretaker's property was adjacent to the school, and would there be any potential safeguarding issues. To answer both of those, as I said, it's been evaluated for housing stock, and in terms of security measures, there have been steps taken to block off any access that would have gone from the property into the school, and there will also be various other measures taken, such as windows that might overlook the school would be obscured glass and have to be so going forward. So all that's been looking at. I know that Councillor Johnson was in conversation or in communication with the education team as far back as April 2019, and was involved in those discussions at that time. So with that in mind, if I can get down to the recommendations. The recommendations before Cabinet today are that the Caretaker's House at Gladstone Primary School is declared surplus to the council's requirements, that delegated authority is granted to the Head of Finance to market and dispose of the Caretaker's House as shown edged red on the plan attached to Appendix A, and that would be in consultation with the Director of Learning and Skills and the Monitoring Officer / Head of Legal and Democratic Services on the terms and conditions to be agreed. 3, that the capital receipt is used for 21st Century Schools programme. And 4, that Cabinet authorises the Monitoring Officer / Head of Legal and Democratic Services to prepare, complete and execute the appropriate legal documentation required to dispose of the site. I so move.
Okay, I think that's very straightforward, and I know that, as you say, the local member has made some comments and he's been giving his answers. I'm happy to second it, and unless anybody's got any other comments. Margaret, have you got a comment?
It's okay. I was.
Ben does.
Ben does. Sorry, I can't see the thing from here. Ben, carry on.
Okay. I was going to formally second, Leader, and thank the officers for putting together the reports. They've had a detailed look at the proposal, and I think it's a useful move in light of all the investment we're putting into new schools.
Good, thank you very much. Apologies, Ben, I didn't see you because you went on camera, so I missed you, sorry. Okay, no, I agree. In that case, we will move on, if we can, please, to agenda item 9, and that's seeking the approval to consent to a community sponsorship application. Margaret, I think this is your report, and the next 2 are, in fact.
Thank you very much, Leader. In July 2016, the Community Sponsorship Scheme was launched as a strand of the Availability Personal Resettlement Scheme to enable local communities to become directly involved in providing accommodation and support to the refugees of the Syrian Civic War. This scheme works in parallel to the local authorities' resettlement work. The Vale of Glamorgan Council has considered 2 other applications. That was Penarth and Llantwit Major, and they both have been approved by the Home Office. So I'm asking this Cabinet to approve of this application. There is only one recommendation. There is a lot in the report, and I'm sure people do know about this scheme, and we need to keep going because it's most important. So the Cabinet approves. I'm asking you for your approval to send this to the Home Office to become a community support for these people.
Okay, that's fine. So basically we're talking about a Croeshow Cowbridge, which is very similar to the Croeshow Penarth and Croeshow Llantwit, which you already had. So that we're approving the Croeshow Cowbridge application to the Home Office to become a community sponsor.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Margaret. You know, to be honest, there's been such success in terms of what's happened in the future. I'm happy that another group has come forward from the Cowbridge area. I don't know if anybody else has got any comments to make. Otherwise, I'm happy to formally second your proposal.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. In that case, I'll take you to the last item on the agenda, item 10, I should say. It's again from Margaret, is to adopt the draft housing support grant delivery plan for 21-22 and to seek authorisations for its submission to the Welsh Government. Margaret.
Thank you, Leader. The Housing Support Grant Programme is a policy and funding framework for the delivery of housing-related support to the vulnerable people in different types of accommodation and across all territories. At a local level, the programme takes forward a number of strategy aims: community safety, health and social care and well-being objectives. It aims to deliver high quality and suitable planned housing-related support systems or services that are cost-effective. I'm asking for your support because this is an important grant. The programme considers to the meeting of aims of improving lives and community homes in the Wales in the National Housing Strategy and the 10-year homeless plan, with a strong emphasis on preventing of homelessness. It is also essential to assist in the local authority to do their get their duties, really, fulfill their duties under the Housing Act. So the recommendation, as I say, there is only one again. It's a big report, but that the recommendation that the Housing Support Grant Delivery Plan 21-22 be approved, and the Cabinet agrees to it for us to go to the Welsh Assembly.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, indeed, the budget, it delivers a tremendous amount of money. In the previous year's allocation, it says here combined a total of £3.5 million. So that's an incredible amount. I am very happy to second the report, and if anybody else got any comments to make. Nope. In that case, that's approved too. In relation to any items that I have under urgent under part 1, I have none. And in relation to any items I have under part 2, I have none. So I will draw this meeting to a close, and thank you for your attendance. And I'm sure I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leader.
Thank you.